I have to start the stream. All right, the stream is live. So when Eric gets back, because we gotta roll it live a little
Just
bit.
go.
No, I can't. I can't yet.
Be like, hello, and just go.
Eric died in a plane crash.
If Rob can show up half a show late, why can't Eric show up 2 minutes?
Because I don't know.
To make witty banter. Just keep going. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Why are we having to make special concessions for somebody who's actually part of the show?
I don't know, but I'm gonna keep it going as soon as he comes back. I don't have that much content in me. I gotta start the stuff up on Alpha Geek Radio also. So
well, for all those people who are listening who are not, I don't know why you'd be listening to this part, but you could check us out doing our fitness show. Joe and I doing Just Fit Enough. By the way, Joe, I want to say that like one of my students who does occasionally listen to Just Cool Enough did listen last week and said all the parts that Joe said he was going to edit out never actually got edited out.
That's actually not true because I left that part in there for comedy. So I did edit out some parts, but I was like, we'll edit this out. We'll fix it in post. Didn't fix it, but you know, there was other parts that needed to be edited. I'm a mastermind.
Like the whole first half?
What do you mean whole first half?
The whole first half of the show.
Oh, of last week's Just Cool Enough episode.
Yeah, no, not our.
Oh, yeah. No, I left that in. I was like, you know, I did do some heavy editing in that because it was kind of bumpy and kind of strung it together to make it sound a lot more coherent. So, and then it kind of flew right into Rob doing his thing. All right, let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Oh, I'm not ready yet. I gotta get a drink.
Oh my god, I gotta take a huge dump. Gotta go.
Bye.
Bye. Pop shield, pop shield, pop shield, pop shield, pop shield, pop shield. How's that? Is it working? It's working. Yeah. You ready to start the show, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Hello, Internet. I'm Joe.
Bonjour, I'm Eric.
And we.
And you're listening to Just Cool Enough. And guys, I can't do the show this week. I'm still in France.
This is a digital Eric. We've actually downloaded him. We've combined all the prior episodes and made a Eric,
virtual Eric,
exactly the way a normal Eric would. It's kind of like a Morty.
I'm sure nothing will go wrong in the future with this digital version.
Guys, I need to tell a funny joke. You are using the trial version of this software. Please change.
Oh God! You got to put it like it's your turn to feed the Eric the dirty dollar into the crack.
That sounded wrong on so many different levels.
It's a ROM hack. I don't know. Whatever. Well, welcome to Just Cool Enough. Bonjour, Eric. How was the?
I want to say those are the worst miniatures I've ever seen photoshopped to the back of Instagram pictures. You didn't even make the Eiffel Tower look real. It was so tiny. It was only like 2 inches high. Yeah.
That's like when shitty rappers.
I was on my. All I had was my iPad and like Photoshop elements on the iPad. Like it wasn't even like it was my old iPad. It was my iPad 2, not my iPad Air 2. So it was like, yeah, I didn't have and I was only had like Eric, like that shitty wireless connection in my, so I couldn't,
These are all just bad excuses. Where did you really go? You didn't really go to France.
I was here. I didn't go anywhere. I just didn't want to deal with you assholes for a week. So fucking sue me. God damn it.
Jeez. So, okay.
Joe's gone all the time pretending to be in fucking Germany. He goes to Germany every other fucking week. Goes
just because I can't stand you guys very much.
We know what that means.
I have to take time off in late April and in like 6 November.
Years. I needed a fucking break, okay? After 6 fucking years. Can I take a week?
Eric, you have to provide for this podcast family. You can't just walk out. Look, that's my job.
I got into this podcast way too young, not sure what I was doing. My parents really forced me. They were like, hey,
Stop it. You stop it right now. When you made the oath of podcasting, you knew what this was. This is for life.
I'm just saying, you guys have put on a lot of weight since we started this podcast. It seems like you're not even trying.
We have both tried so hard to lose weight, and you know that's
so hard. I'm going to go eat my feelings.
Me and Ike are sharing an ice cream in the corner, just like the muddiest mud tracks. It's nice to have you back, dude. Nice to have you back.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, well,
when you're not here, we have to get scientists on the show.
But yeah,
let's face it, it's just not the same. I mean, it was close, but
I thought it was funny though. Like you brought Rob on, and I forgot. Like I I don't know if he still does podcasting, but he's still better at it than any one of us.
All of us. He is superior. I actually was so.
His equipment's fantastic. I don't know if he does this on a regular basis somewhere else.
He does not. He likes to record like music in his house, so that's why he has all the really nice equipment. And I had so many people who listen to podcasts this past week be like, that Rob guy, he's got a voice for like podcasting and radio. Like it's really fun to listen to him.
He's so good, it made me want to quit. Like I messaged Scott and Atish after the show, close friends, right? I was like, guys, I'm just not doing a show anymore. That's it. He's so good because
we're done.
He hasn't done it in like years.
No,
and he's still better than us.
It was that passion, man. See, he has this just burning passion for what he was talking about. It was amazing. I would love to have him on again. I can't wait to have him on again. I can't wait for him to make another discovery.
I would love for him to just take over for us.
Yeah, honestly. I would just listen to the show. I'd say subscribe and just chill.
Yeah. I'd listen for a change.
It was a really good show last week. If you missed episode, was it 320? Yes, it was episode 320. Holy
Revenge
crap.
of the Sith.
It was not Revenge of the... It was a space-time oddity. Episode 320. I thought it was a really clever name. That's why I wanted to say it. Just go watch it. Oh, that's a good name. Oh. Eric, how was France? Tell us about your trip. Like you've been to France, right?
No.
Oh no, you're the only one who hasn't been to France here. Oh wow, weird. Sucks. Eric, how is France?
Oh, that sucks for you.
You been to Italy, Joe, where your people are from?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I guess I was Eric out.
Oh, sorry. I didn't pick up on that sweet joke. Like I'm so bad at podcasting.
So you guys know when like you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth, and then you like you brush your teeth really well and stuff, and then you go to like eat breakfast without waiting, and you've got that like numbness and that sort of pepperminty taste. So whatever you're eating doesn't really taste like it tastes slightly off, or it doesn't taste as good as you remember. That's what life is like after France. Everything tastes just not good anymore.
You're totally right.
I don't know what it fucking is, but everything's better. I don't know what they do, what it's different. I mean, I had a croissant there, and the first morning there, and I was like, fuck.
Right?
I had a croissant this morning, and I was like, yeah, this is okay.
Dude, you're totally... Oh my gosh, man.
But the biggest thing, the thing I did not expect it to be blown away by, was the fucking apple juice. I don't know what they do to apple juice. I had apple juice this morning as well, and it was the good stuff. It was treetops. They're like just fucking apple concentrate and water, like nothing, no corn syrup, no shit like that. I was like, this is doesn't even compare to the shit in France. I don't know what they do to it in France. Why it's so amazing.
Okay, so this is what you're experiencing, man. Like they do such a better job from farm to table than we do here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like their industrial farming is nowhere. It's just not like ours, and they're able to retain all those nutrients from the field, throw them on the plate, and you actually get taste out of your vegetables. Why do you think I go to Germany so much? It's the same thing. It's the best.
We can make Germany good again.
Just settle down with that, Ike. God damn.
I mean, it's weird being in a country where they give a shit about food. Like right. I don't know what we went to the Louvre, and it's a huge fucking museum, and we were there for a while, and we decided to get lunch at the fucking cafeteria. And you expect it's fucking cafeteria food, but even having said that, it was still pretty fucking good. It was like the best cafeteria. It wasn't like the best meal I had in France by a long shot, but compared to cafeteria food in America, it was really fucking good.
Well, and it is absolutely crazy.
It was a sandwich. It was a cold sandwich on a shitty baguette, and it was still
the shitty
solid.
Baguettes are amazing.
It was still
solid. That's the thing. We Sarah never even had, my wife Sarah, she never even had goat cheese until she went to France. I'm like, babe, if you don't have this goat cheese, we're gonna have a problem. You have to I know you don't like cheese, taste this goat cheese. She tasted goat cheese, she's like, oh my god, it's so good. I'm like, I know, right? She came back to America, she's like, why can't I have goat cheese like in France? I'm like, it's just not the same, I told you. Same. And dude, the croissants, you nailed it, dude. Like you totally like those croissants are so amazing. I can't believe that we are so deprived here in the U.S. because there just isn't anything close to it. When I went to Italy and I had pasta in Italy, I didn't come back here and have pasta for roughly like 4 months because I was just so demoralized. I'm like, why even try? You know, whatever. Doesn't matter.
I mean, the only things I ate over there that I can get better over here was we ate at a pizzeria, and it was good. I mean, it was a really solid food because it was fresh, and like you were saying, all the ingredients were fresh. It was great. It still wasn't like
right.
It was French pizza, so it was just the closest thing to us at the time that looked appetizing. You know, we didn't eat anything crazy, but. Yeah, I mean, I had Domino's when I came back the day I came back, and I was like, this is. I mean, it wasn't like better for me or better tasting, but I was like, yeah, pizza over there wasn't anything to fucking
right home.
It was everything else. Everything else is so fucking because it just. The people there give a shit. Like they take the time and give a shit about it.
Like you went to Sicily or Malta, right? Like where did
I went to Sicily and I had the same experience with just like everything felt very fresh. Everything was like I ordered a lemonade and you think like here they get the sugar water from the soda fountain, but they're like, oh, we're gonna go out and like squeeze the lemons. Like I literally drank a restaurant out of lemons.
Yeah, they're like, hold on, let's go pick some lemons on the tree in the backyard. And you're like, what?
Right, that actually happens. In the village my people are from, that happens. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts, but it's so delicious. Man, I'm really glad that you guys have been able to experience this because I come back like a raving lunatic every time I'm back from Europe. I'm like, oh God, I'm just in this food wasteland because you have to dig to find really good food here. You have to go to the farmers markets. You have to drive there. Over there, you just kind of just walk to the open air market.
I watched a couple of like travel programs before we went about like the restaurants you have to try just because not because I was gonna try anything but just kind of like to get a feel for what it was like. I'd never been to Europe, but we ended up eating twice. We just had dinner at the restaurant that was next to our hotel because it was right there, and it was fantastic. And then we went to then we tried 2 other restaurants that were in walking distance because and that was like a lot of the shit we just ate because it was convenient, and we didn't go for like this is the best thing. Like we had there was a bakery like 2 blocks away, so that's where we got breakfast from most mornings, and it was just like because it was just having to. It could have been the shittiest one in all of that district of Paris. It was still amazing to me.
See, and the problem is. Everybody thinks that hasn't gone to a trip and got to explore that side of the world. They just like, oh, you were on vacation. Everything's better on vacation. I went to Myrtle Beach once and I had the best hot dog in the world. It's like, you idiot. You total idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about. Go experience it firsthand. And it's easy to say it after you've done the trip because it is expensive and you got to save up and you got to plan for it. But it's totally worth it because you get this whole other side of the world and you realize like the world. You realize that the world is way different than. There's a lot of similarities and there's also a lot of differences. It's just fun to compare those country to country.
Yeah,
I remember being in Sicily and ordering a cassata. It's a Arabic kind of dessert, very sweet, very tasty over there. And then I come back here. It's like if you want to do it, you have to go to Stop and Shop. Whereas I was eating it like every night at restaurants that made it that day.
Oh man, dude, don't order a cassata from a Stop and Shop. You come to
I know, right? That's why I was like the only place I can get around here is Stop and Shop. I'm not ruining.
Why even waste your time?
Not ruining my memory.
I would rather eat. It's just like you might as well eat cardboard.
Yep.
Don't do that. Oh man, I'm so excited.
San Francisco.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say, Eric. Sadly, for you, like you have a really good culinary surrounding in LA. You have a really good mix. You have Korean. You have a lot of really high-end restaurants. You have a lot of great Mexican, a lot of good fusion food, a lot of Asian-inspired food. You have a really cool thing going on there that isn't available all around the world. So like. Yeah. In a culinary, you're in a great spot.
I know. If I were inclined to eat more adventurously, it would be fantastic. I'm kind of a picky eater. I'm not. I've gotten better about it. I'm not crazy picky, but I'm not. I don't go outside my comfort zone that much. I try a little bit. I mean, since I've moved here, I mean, I eat, like, I never had Thai food before I moved out here, and now it's a staple of my diet. When I eat, when I order burritos, I don't go to Chipotle. I go to the smaller mom and pop joints because they're fucking good and authentic and not bullshit like those places. Not that, I mean, Chipotle's fine. I had it the last week.
Unless you're in Massachusetts, because you could get the neurovirus. I just saw that on the news. Watch out. This is a special, just cool enough bulletin.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's...
What neurovirus? I don't know what you're talking about here in Massachusetts.
It's just weird. It's different. Also, the weirdest thing is, like, when we're eating at the cafeteria at the Louvre, I was sitting there, like, eating my baguette sandwich, going, man, this is actually a pretty good sandwich, and eating my cafeteria cookie and drinking my Coca Light, and looking up and realizing I'm eating cafeteria food in the most beautiful building I can possibly imagine, like this incredibly ornate, like, roof. Because the Louvre used to be this massive palace, so it's got all of these intricate, like, roofs and designs and stuff, and I'm just, like, sitting at a fucking, like, cheap-ass IKEA table eating the cafeteria food in, like, in such opulence surrounding me that it's just surreal.
That's the perfect word for it, too. It is surreal to be surrounded. As an American traveling, you are surrounded by all these old buildings and this old architecture that we just don't get to experience because there's not castles in America. Maybe there's like one, but there's not castles like.
It's a White Castle.
There's White Castle. You're right. There's
castles,
Knights Inn.
But they were built in the 80s by eccentric millionaires.
Right. These are like.
These are castles built in 1480s by eccentric
mountains, and you think of the people without modern machinery carrying up all this equipment up the hills in big slabs of stone, and lots of these things.
It took 200 years to build Notre Dame, and that's like crazy when you think, like, when you walk around it and look at how amazing it is and stuff. I didn't go inside Notre Dame, but I did the there's another, like, smaller thing that's like archaeology dig underneath it, and you can go through that, and we did that. And what's crazy is, like, you look at, like, France, like, all these buildings are so hundreds of years old, and, like, they don't, like, the skyscrapers they keep outside so that, like, they try and keep, like, keep it feeling like cobblestone streets and in this very European feel. And you're like, this place is so old. And then you realize this place that's so old is built on top of shit that's 1,000 years old, that's built on shit that's 2,000 years old. Like it's like built on so many layers of, like, old cities that it's crazy. You think, like, this is new compared to the fucking rocks that, like, they tore down the Roman buildings, used it as foundation, and then built the city on top of that.
I really respect the French because they just, like, the Louvre and Notre Dame. When you are there, it's an experience, but they were palaces. They were places of worship, and the French people decided, they're like, okay, well, let's make it part of our country's appeal, and they just let you go in and check it out, and you get the architecture in Notre Dame.
We were walking down the street, and I was playing this little game of trying to guess what was some sort of ancient palace that is now a historical site, and what was just a fucking apartment building, because I couldn't tell the difference half the time.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like I was walking down the street. How can you did you at all sing the, like, Disney thing, the bonjour, bonjour, bonjour,
No.
bonjour? Oh god. When we were in, like, the driving through the country or on a train through the countryside, it looked like Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, oh wow, this is just like the Disney movie. And then you walk in, it feels surreal. That word that you used earlier, I believe, it's surreal to be there. You don't. Did you stumble over any of the memorials for the World War II stuff? Any of that kind of thing?
None of the memorials, but we went through the Army Museum at the infirmary. the old barracks, and that was a huge section on World War I and World War II that was awesome. And a whole section on like medieval arms and armor that I fucking loved, and then like this giant massive section on like Napoleon era like shit, which was not interesting to me because it was the biggest section and it was just the same fucking jacket from like it. It's granted it was like 600 years of history, but it all like was just like fucking powdered wigs and like red jackets, red and blue jackets for just rooms and rooms and rooms of shit I didn't care about, like that era of European history. But I was like, whatever.
Blazers33X says something that's kind of depressing. He says they are starting to relax the height restrictions in the buildings in Paris, so they will slowly add skyscrapers. They approved the first one in over 40 years last year, and I think that's a tragedy. What a terrible tragedy!
I know, like by like day 3, I was like looking at the Paris landscape, and I could see the skyscrapers that were not too far away, and was like, what the fuck are those doing there? Like, it's like
it just seems. I want my vacation to be picturesque. I'll tell you, I'm American, and I deserve to see the best.
Yeah.
Like we're that entitled, but I mean. France can do whatever they want.
I mean, it sucks because it's just something about just how fucking European it is. Like driving down these tiny streets and hearing the European siren, the yeah, and
you gotta get the Doppler effect in there too. It's important. And make sure you Patrick Star it.
And like just the. So much like incredible opulence that I can't. It's so because I've been to Washington D.C. and I've seen the Capitol building and stuff like that, and seeing like the mural and all that stuff, and it's all really it's all really stunning, but it's just so fucking. It feels so fucking phony compared to just how fucking immense. Like the paintings in like the nation's Capitol building and like the Congress and like that stuff is all great, but then when you just compare it to like just all over the fucking like this shit all like we were walking through the Louvre and I'm looking at all the paintings and I realized we'd gone through like half a wing and I hadn't looked up at any point, and up is all these like just incredible carvings and gold inlays and murals of shit I've never seen before, and like I was like I'm not like it's so like ground level, eye level is just so fascinating. Like I haven't even looked up, which is even more fast. Like it's just so much. It's all over the place.
So I want to know if any, because I know we have international listeners. If any of them have come to America and had the same feeling, I doubt it, but. You can email us at the show at justcoolenough.com. I'm super interested if you've been to America. Have you ever been like, oh yeah, we saw this shit and there was buildings everywhere and blah blah blah? Are you more like, I don't see what the big deal is on this side?
Well, I think it would be a different kind of thing. For me, it's like I look and I see so much fucking history.
And Europe, where the history comes from.
And then, but I imagine when people come here, like if they go to New York, they're like, oh my, I see buildings that shoot up into the sky, and just like there's so much immense, like, and then we had dinner and they gave us so much food, and you know, it's like, it's so much
the suburbs are huge. I think the scale of America is what, whenever I talk to the European guys, they always comment, and especially the Asian guys that come over, they're just amazed by the scale at there's the vastness of the country. They can't wrap their head around.
We have so much space, and we take up so much room, and like our buildings.
You call me fat?
Our buildings are so big. Our cars are so big.
Fat.
Our beds are so big. Like everything, like we live in more space than we need to.
Everything real big.
Yeah, and if it's not,
I need 2 seats on an airplane doesn't mean I'm big.
If it's not big enough, we tear it down and rebuild it. Like we don't just learn to live with it like they do.
Or we tear down the new building to rebuild it to make it look like it did 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's quaint to come in and be like, this is a original 1901 building with the exposed brick, and everybody's, oh wow, this is so old. What a piece of junk.
Yeah.
In Europe, they're living in stuff that's like this has been my family's home for 6-7 generations, and before that, that was taken over by these guys, and before that,
this building's from 1901. I've seen that before. BC. Oh, that's impressive.
Wow, yeah. Really. My family's been living in this building since the dawn of time, essentially. Well, I'm glad we raved about traveling in Europe so much.
But domestic traveling is interesting too, because before I went to France, I got to drive to San Diego, which I didn't really get to do much there. It was my improv team was performing at a college improv festival, which was fun in its own right. But basically, I just drove down, did the show, and then drove back. I didn't get to explore San Diego, so I haven't really been to San Diego. It's like having a layover at an airport. I wasn't really there. But what was interesting is I'd never been there before, and I drove, this is by far the longest I've ever driven before. It was a 2.5-hour journey, which is way more than I've ever driven. I think the most I've ever driven is maybe an hour, like in one direction. I can't remember before, but it was crazy because I was driving, like realizing like this is so far, and it's a pretty easy drive because it's just one freeway basically all the way there. But what was crazy is like I was expecting to see the ocean and stuff and see the scenic view, but it was night when I was leaving basically, so it was pitch black, and there's this section of the 5 when you're going to San Diego or coming back that at night is the ocean's on one side, so there's no light. It's completely pitch black. And on this side, I guess there's a delta or waterworks or something, so there's nothing here, so it's pitch black here. And the fog's rolling in, so it was about an hour of driving where all I could see was the road that my headlights illuminated and any other car headlights, coming and going, and that was about it. And like fog everywhere. It was the most oppressive thing I've ever gone through. I was like, am I driving through hell right now? Like what?
You were actually in the movie The Fog.
Yeah, I was. I felt like I was like this was like this was the metaphysical representation of the river Styx, and I was going to Hades or something like that. Like it was, and it was both ways, both times. It was like going through. I was like, what is it? It's like it's completely straight. It's completely straight. It's pitch black, covered in fog, and you can barely see anything, and I'm just going like I was going 80, and I pushed it up to like 85 and 90 just because I'm trying to get through this oppressive I was like, I don't know, like this is terrifying. I don't want to drive this. I don't know why, but I'm scared for my life right now.
Just throw a couple more curves in the road while it's foggy like that.
If it would, honestly, I wish it were curvier because I wasn't like it wasn't late, so I wasn't tired, but I noticed I was drifting to sleep because I was just holding like a speed for 2.5 hours and just following the same cars, staring at these 2 red lights in front of me for like hours and hours, and I just noticed I was like getting real tired, even though I wasn't asleep. It was just hypnotic.
This is actually, there was a study a few years back talking about how American highways put you to sleep because it is so much mindless straight line driving. Yeah. And in countries that have Autobahn, like Germany, or curvy roads, when you're driving a long distance, because you have to be actively driving and going around turns and going through tunnels and going up and down elevation, your brain doesn't go into autopilot. So
see,
this is what you're saying is just backing up the study that I read a few years back.
That makes perfect sense. Because I was doing that fully awake, fully conscious, well rested, and it was like 7 or 8, and I was drifting asleep while I was driving. I had to like catch myself, turn up the radio, talk to the guy I was giving a ride to a bit more to stay awake. Whereas yesterday I was driving to improv practice. I'm still jet lagged as fuck, tired as fuck. But I was going up Laurel Canyon, which I love driving because it's very windy up hills and stuff like that. I was completely awake doing that, because it's all windy, uphill, downhill. It's totally awake the entire time.
Well, I think the driving experience in California is also pretty great too. So you have all those nice canyon roads, and in LA it's not so great.
Can be fun. It can be fun sometimes.
Actually, I'm gonna be driving in LA next week, I think. Holy crap, is that already happening? Oh, no. Okay, never mind.
Week and a half.
It's like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
I'll see you on the 20th, Eric.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Does that mean I actually? So I don't know if any of you guys have ever subscribed to any car stuff at all. I talk about it every once in a while here, right?
Oh, all the time. I get like buttloads of the stuff.
I'm totally into Car Driving Monthly.
Yes, Car Driving Monthly.
I went to Falling Asleep at the Wheel monthly. I'm driving from San Francisco down to LA. I'm taking my time doing that. We're gonna make like a 2-day trip of it and stop in wine country and stuff, do some white people stuff. But when I get to LA, I'm actually dumping off my nice rental car, and I'm gonna be driving a Lexus with over 900,000 miles on it. It's Matt Farah's $1 million mile Lexus. You guys, I'm sure, haven't heard of this, but it's a project. There's a host on NBC TV and on the Drive Network, and he has a car that he bought in Florida that had 900,000 miles on it, and he wants to get it to 1 million miles. So he's just lending it out to people to drive. And because I have the hookup through Shout Engine, and he hosts his show is called The Smokey and Tire. It's a very successful automotive podcast, one of the top 10. He's gonna let me drive the car for while I'm seeing Eric. So we're gonna get to drive around in this 1 million mile Lexus, Eric. It's gonna be fun.
Sweet.
I can't wait.
I think you'll enjoy Laurel Canyon and probably Mulholland Drive. Though I didn't enjoy it when I was driving it, but that's because it was the middle of the night, pitch black, and it just finished raining against the side of a hill, so it was terrifying to me. During the daytime, I'm sure it's great.
I'm sure, yeah. I want to go. What is it? Big Tuhunga? I don't know. I gotta look. There's a couple really cool driving roads that I want to do. We're gonna do Big Sur. We're gonna do a bunch of stuff, but I don't want to talk about that stuff yet because we'll talk about it in like 2 weeks. But potentially, me and you could hang out together.
Yeah, I got it.
All this traveling. Like, where are you traveling to?
Nowhere in particular.
Extremely fast.
The only things that I have on the foreseeable future are the end of July going to Vegas for the first time, and then, or no, sorry, that's the end of June. The end of June, Vegas for a week. July, hopefully Australia for 3 weeks.
Wow, that's gonna be.
By the way, there's a chance in July I won't be here for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. You said it on episode 321. Will everyone remember? Listeners, remind us. Remind us on our Twitter account. Our Twitter is, what is it? JCE Show. At JCE Show. I had to remember that. I've been using it more and more. Actually, I did a poll, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Because we're releasing...
Sounds like it would hurt.
Well, and then also I did this voting thing on Twitter. Since Ike and I have a show called Just Fit Enough, and it's on its separate stream, like it's a separate RSS feed, but it hasn't really got many downloads. So I was tempted to put it on the Just Cool Enough feed to kind of kickstart it.
What you're telling me is you want to be like, not Steve Jobs there, his backup buddy who put U2 on all the people's. I'll get U2 for free. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to sneak in Just Fit Enough on all the listeners.
Well, that's exactly. I did a poll, and the people have spoken. But I considered this a primary because it was a 71.
Even though it won by the popular demands, we're going to say super delegates say it goes the other way.
Right.
Make getting fit great again.
Shut up, Ike.
See, that's not applicable because we were doing a Bernie Sanders thing where even though he's winning far and ahead in the popular vote, he's still probably going to lose the election because they're just not going to let him have it.
I'm just excited Michigan pulled something for Bernie because I was just like, oh God, just do your thing, man. We have to get political on it, but seriously, I think Bernie Sanders is the superior candidate in this case. Anyway, whatever I was saying, forget about it.
Not get political, but
I'm not. I don't think I'm being racist, but like whenever you butt something, whatever you just said is negated.
I'm not blanking, but then you are. You're totally.
Yeah, you are totally about to blank. I don't mean to disrespect you, but
I don't mean to sound like a queer or nothing.
I'm not.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite bit from the movie Orgasmo.
Orgasmo.
I forget which one. It was the one who I forget if it was Matt Stone or Trey Park. I forget. They're interchangeable. I don't know which one's name lies with the other, but one of them's like a PA on the porn set. He's always like, I don't sound like a queer or nothing. but I think unicorns are pretty kick-ass. Like, what he starts getting behind becomes more and more gay, which is funny.
Right. I like that
but
one.
Or not saying I'm gonna murder you, but
yeah.
Your mom might be locked in my basement. That's it. That's the statement right there. No buts. Orgasmo is amazing. That was a great movie.
Very underrated movie.
It is underrated, but I don't know. I have to go back.
I don't know if it holds up. I haven't seen
know.
it in like 15 years. Maybe
I thought it was cool as the time. I bet you I'd watch it now and just be like, duh, I hate this movie.
That's how I felt like, because for the longest time I defended the original Transformers. I was like, come on, the original Transformers is still pretty solid. The way it builds and then I tried rewatching it. I was like, oh, I don't really like this. And then I was like, well, at least I'll still like Bad Boys 2. And then I rewatched Bad Boys 2, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God. You know what movie holds up? The original Fast and the Furious.
I like that. My favorite's still number 5.
I've never watched any other ones than the first and second one, and after I saw the second one, I'm like, I'm never going to watch these again.
Watch the first one.
This is like the machete order of Fast and the Furious.
Maybe watch 4, maybe. Not as important.
Wait, what's the one where they do
Tokyo?
Tokyo?
Watch 4, but
Tokyo is the third one, which doesn't really count, but does. Like, it wasn't supposed to count, but then they decided they were going to make a fourth one, so then they folded it in to the canon. You don't need to watch Tokyo Drift at all. Fourth one, it's only important because Michelle Rodriguez dies in that, and that's important because in the sixth one she comes back. So you'll need.
Wait a second. This just got a lot. Well, see, this is the problem. I have an Asian friend, and we always call them DK, and I always thought it was like something like really bad. But then I found out it was just Drift King from Tokyo Drift.
What did you think it was that was really bad?
You know, I don't want to be racist, but I don't know. You know, like, you're just a dumb kid. You don't know these things, and you just repeat things that people say, and they can be hurtful. So I'm sorry, Asian friend.
You know, when you're a kid and you think being offensive is edgy and funny, and not just like a shitty, cheap way to get a laugh.
Right? Yeah, that's the worst. Anyway, like we were saying, follow the show at Twitter at JCE Show.
I don't want to sound like a racist or anything, but you should probably follow our Twitter account.
There's the joke. I was searching.
How Joe just strung together a bunch of internet bullshit to make something. You want to follow us at http twitter.facebook justfit on coolenough.org.
Make sure you subscribe to our LinkedIn posts. It's
Hashtag LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, it's very important.
And stop saying LinkedIn things, Joe.
I need you. We'll talk offline about what I need from you, by the way.
Speaking of needing things for people, I have this thing that I found on the floor recently. I know it's really hard to see because it's a blank page, so let's try to find something that has something on it. I have the book.
You found the book?
Well, I have the second rendition of the book. Like, here's this picture that says something like, Steve learned 2 lessons that day. He couldn't fly or swim. Of course, if you can't see it, you'll have to go check it out on the podcast. And this picture that my girlfriend did, or now my fiance did, in Alaska like 3 years ago. And those are the only 2 things in there. So if you're interested in receiving the book, basically you just get it, you do a sketch in a page or 2, and you send it on to somebody else, and then you let me know where it's going so I can track it across the United States. Last time it got lost in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm pretty sure somebody got it in a divorce case.
Oh, wow. It's so valuable. Why would they give it up?
I know.
Like, send it to me. I want to have a couple Detroit artists do some
Maybe
stuff
I can send it to you along with that video graphics card I have.
Oh, yeah. Why didn't you give that to me yet?
I'll send it together.
Yeah, send them together. Send both those things to me. We'll get some art in there, and then I'll send it on.
All right. But if you're interested, let us know at the show at justcoolenough.com. Get in touch with us at the show at justcoolenough.com, and let me just title it like the book as the subject. That way we know what to look for. So, Ike. Sir.
You started doing something this week, and I know
started doing a lot of things, yes.
Well, this week especially, you did something that I think Eric and I really wanted to talk to you about. And it involved watching television.
I did. It did. I came across a lot of people who were shocked at this. I started watching Dragon Ball for the first time. Did a little bit of research, found out that it started in 1986. I don't know about you guys, but that makes it about 4 years younger than me.
Yeah, I remember, like, my friend Ricky, who is Japanese, he's a Japanese immigrant, having like so much Dragon Ball Z shit and having no frame of reference for what it was for like 5 years, and then Dragon Ball Z came out in America, and then suddenly I understood, and then like I was like, because I remember us playing like a Super Nintendo game he brought back from Japan, which was just a fighting game with the Dragon Ball Z heroes from like season 5 or something like that, but like not knowing what that was, and just like we were just playing a fighting game, and then like slowly over the years catching up, and then like I remember in high school like sophomore or junior year, like he's like, oh, where are they at in the American one? I was like, oh, they're at this point. They just went to Namek and fought Frieza. I was like, oh, okay.
Good series, good series. Yeah. Wait, don't spoil any of this for Ike though. You know.
Well, I mean, I've seen, like, I watched Dragon Ball Z from like the Cell into Majin Buu. It was kind of near the end of Z, and I was like, oh, I really like this. And every so often I'd see Dragon Ball on like Cartoon Network, and I'm like, oh, I'll just look at it. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, this is nothing. There's no fighting in this, and so
why would I like it?
The original Dragon Ball is a lot better than Dragon Ball Z.
Well, but because I was started on Dragon Ball Z, it was more like going backwards, feeling like this is not what I expect. This is not what I want. And then Amanda, my fiance, was like, "Hey, we went out, we picked up some anime this weekend." She's like, "Well, get Dragon Ball." She's like, will you try to watch it with me? I'm like, I'll go in with an open mind. Like, I just didn't like the idea, but I'm willing to go forward with it. She's like, you got to approach it as if it has nothing to do with Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. It is not a fighting. It's not a fighting series. It's not like a combat series. It's more of a comedy series about
exactly.
A boy.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's a comedy about this weird, stupid boy going on adventures, and that's what's he is. Goku's just such a brilliant character in Dragon Ball. He's just such because it translates a little bit into Dragon Ball Z, but it's such a serious tone that it doesn't work the same way. But the character of Goku is so fascinating because he is the strongest man in the universe, arguably, but he's just an idiot. He's just a big dumb idiot who likes to fight things. That's all. That's his entire motivation. He eats, and he eats because he has to fuel, because he's always training and always wanting to fight things. And it's funny when he's a kid, he's just this like kid who wants to go on adventures and punch shit. And then you realize in Dragon Ball Z, he's now an adult with a family, and he's still that same idiot. Like he has not changed or evolved in any way, shape, or form. He dies several times, and what does he do in heaven? He just wants to fight things in heaven. Like.
So I would say I've come around. I would agree with you completely. As long as you approach this as a story about a stupid boy having adventures, it's been really worth it. But like I know I'm probably going to spoil it for somebody out there, but after the first 4 episodes, they get all the Dragon Balls together and they do something with them. And I was like, so we're on the first season, and there are 31 episodes. They've already got them all together, and they've I don't know what the next 27 episodes in this season are going to bring, or the subsequent 12 seasons that follow.
Yeah,
but I'm enjoying it. I've come around to it.
What I loved is I remember watching it on early morning, because they were playing it at 6 in the morning, and I was catching up on it, and there was a joke that didn't work in English like it worked in Japanese, because the pig guy made a wish for panties, and I didn't understand why that was a joke. And then I realized what he was making a wish for Bulma, which is the Japanese word for panties, which happens to be the character. And that's the joke, is that he wished for the character, and then he got panties instead. But it doesn't work in English because it's not.
Yeah, he just wishes for the most super soft panties in the world. But really, what he wished for was Bulma, and he got what he wished for.
Wait, so Bulma means panties?
Yeah.
She was already a bad character, but now I hate her.
See, Bulma had a daughter named Bra in Japan, but it doesn't work here, so they had to change its name.
You're joking.
Her name's Panties. Her daughter's Bra.
No.
I forget.
I'm not gonna believe this. I want to, but I'm not.
I forget what Goku means, but Gohan means rice bowl. Like, they all have really stupid names. Like, they're all like rice bowl, panties. His name. I mean, Goku. I don't know what Goku is, but his name. His Saiyan name is Kakarot, which is carrot.
Yeah.
Frieza is
Kakarot. I was just about to say Kakarot is like an epic name that could.
Doesn't it sound badass? Like,
what?
yeah.
Carrot?
No, it's Carrot. His Saiyan name is Carrot. Frieza is the word for a refrigerator.
Frieza.
You put it in. It sounds like Boston. Hey, where you gonna put the beer? I put it in the freezer.
The big bad guy is Piccolo. You know, they all have really stupid, childish names.
Shut up! This isn't real. You guys are joking. You're joshing me.
No, they all got stupid names after like food and clothing items and stupid.
But I am worried.
Utensils.
I have one concern about watching Dragon Ball, that it's going to be a gateway to Pokemon. Like, I haven't seen Pokemon yet, and I'm afraid because my girlfriend was really into that too. She's gonna be like, "Well, watch Dragon Ball. You should watch Pokemon."
Oh, Pokemon. That's not gonna hold up for a grown ass man.
Well, the two of you are always talking the fuck out of it.
Well, the games are amazing. The games are amazing.
The games are legitimately super solid RPGs.
Right, turn-based RPGs. They're definitely one of the top games.
Can you still play the game and appreciate the game and never have watched the series?
Yeah, because I haven't watched the series in 15 years, and I still play the games, and the games still.
But you have a context of which to work in, even though you haven't seen the show.
Because every new game takes place in a new continent, which ties into a new season of the series, which I've never seen.
So there's very there's call outs to like the episodes, and if you watched both of those things side by side as you're playing the game, you'll get the references, but there's no need to do that because the game definitely holds up on its own. It's not where you're like, oh wow, Nurse Joy, this is great, now I totally understand this storyline. It's just like, okay, whatever, it's a nurse, it heals my Pokemon, who cares? Just play the games. You don't need to watch it. I mean, if you are watching it, play the games while you're watching it, then you'll enjoy it more. But I can't wait.
One of the things that's always kind of fascinating about Japan is my friend Ricky talked about this when he'd go back to Japan. When he was a kid, he'd watch, like Pokemon and like their version of Power Rangers, like, that show, which is the original version, before they added white actors and kept the original, the fighting. But then like his like nephews and shit and like cousins, like, and their kids are still watching like fucking Pokemon and new versions of the Power Rangers, basically. Like, they're still watching the same shit over there, just like new versions of all of it. It's kind of actually really interesting. Like,
how's that any different from the fact they're about to put out Beetlejuice 2, Ghostbusters 2, they brought back Full House? We're going through the same...
No. See, because this is different, because that is, they're trying to remake something, whereas this is, he left. And it never ended. It just kept going. Like the canon of these Power Rangers shows continues on. And I think like they're rebooting Power Rangers now for American audiences, but like it never stopped. It never unbooted. Like Pokemon never unbooted, Power Rangers never unbooted. It just kept going. Like so kids are still watching the same fucking show he used to watch, just watching new episodes. Like they're still making it, which is amazing. Whereas this is like trading in on nostalgia and most of it's garbage. Like the X-Files or any of it all. By the way, the X-Files was garbage. Don't watch it. Watch the third episode and none of the other ones.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. I'm like, I can go without it.
If you're a diehard fan, skip the first episode and the last episode. If you only kind of like it, watch only the third episode. If you've never liked it, maybe watch the third episode or never watch it.
Pokemon has been on since April 1st of 1997. That was its first original air date in Japan.
I was just saying Japan. All right.
Yeah.
So that episode, I mean, Pokemon is
19 years old.
20 years old almost.
Yeah, it's still going.
That's insane.
That's even older. I mean, the Power, whatever the Power Rangers is called of it, has been going on since the 80s, I think. So and that shit still goes. I mean, they're still doing those, which is amazing. Like a lot of the stuff is still going, which is I find fascinating. It stayed popular.
It is insane. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is just the American thing.
Yeah, that's just the American thing. Like I use that term, but that's not what it is over there. It's different, and I don't have any real frame of reference besides my friend Ricky being in. Like he wasn't into it when we were kids, but he had like a lot of the magazines of like all of the teams, and occasionally they would be, because they're different shows, and occasionally there would be crossover from different teams, but they're always like different teams fighting in like separate universes, but coming together sometime, but like the same like primary color people, ninja super people fighting, and then
that's a technical term.
Yeah.
I find it weird with some of the kids that I have taught in the last 2 or 3 years who have seen Power Rangers. Like, oh, Power Rangers, blah. I'm like, oh, I remember Power Rangers. Like, oh, you watch Power Rangers? I'm like, well, I watched them.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
When I was in 5th grade. So when I was your age, I was watching them, and that just goes to show how long they've been around.
Yeah, I mean, I was obsessed with it in the 3rd grade. I remember that. Like, I remember being like going to school and like going, I can't wait for tomorrow because the new episode's tomorrow. Like,
I still think that down in my basement I have a Red Ranger like finger puppet, like a plastic one.
The chat room is actually saving the day right now because they say that the name for the Japanese show that predates Power Rangers is called Super Sentai.
Yeah, Super Sentai.
It's just not to be confused with Super Hentai. That's totally different, totally different show.
Although there is Super Sentai Hentai.
Oh God, you bet your ass there is. The show's been around forever.
Yeah.
Actually, don't bet any body part. You just know it's going to be abused. Just don't do it. If you want to be part of the live chat in this disgusting mess, you can go to justcoolenough.com/live and join the fun. We have lots of people in there talking. It's a nice little community we have. And the last thing that was just said is Kimberly the pink one was my first crush.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody loved the Pink Ranger. Except for me. I like the original Yellow Ranger.
See, what I liked is like when I started to like get crushes on like fictional people from TV, and Kimberly was there. It was like also when the internet started showing up, so then I could look up those Playboy photos of Amy Jo Johnson.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You've not heard about this? She also did porn for a while, I heard.
Yeah, I don't know.
She did not do pornography or anything, but she did like there's like I remember there's just like one black and white still of her of her where you can see her boobs or something, but in junior high that was enough. Like that was
yeah, well, I mean junior high. I think I can't even remember, but I know the weird thing was I had a crush on, oh God, what was her name? It was an animated thing out of Rescue Rangers. It was the bunny girl, the little
No, Gadget was not a bunny. She was a rodent. She was
a rodent.
I had a
mouse. I had a crush on a mouse, so I don't have any room to talk, Eric.
She was kind of hot too.
Yeah.
I was
an animated mouse.
I was talking about a flesh and blood woman.
No, yeah, that is true.
You mentioned first crushes, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm just that's what I thought of. I couldn't help it. I was a kid. What am I supposed to do? That's what was exposed to me. Thanks, Disney Channel. Now I'm messed up forever.
That's why I've had so much trouble finding a woman, because none of them have a tail long enough, and they're
I've said it before. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The movie the movie Space Jam ruined a generation of people.
Yeah,
Lola Bunny.
What? Yeah, Lola Bunny. Like that was a very over-sexualized children's character.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw that the other day on TV. I was like, it's been a while. I remember seeing it as a kid and like liking it, and then I was like, holy shit! If they pumped her any more for like sexualness, she'd be naked running around on the court having sex with all the players. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, she.
Lola Bunny is responsible for all the furries.
Yeah. She might as well, like her entrance. She might as well have like been like, "Who's gonna fuck me next?" Like she's just under subtle enough between, like she's so unsubtle, like she's just like straddling that line of like.
She actually
is it like Lolita Bunny? Is that what her real name should be? Lolita?
No, it should be like, you ever see, what was it, Varsity Blues, where like the chick comes out wearing whipped cream because she wants to fuck the dude? Like that's basically Lola Bunny is almost that. Almost. Totally she might as well be wearing whipped cream over her genitals and like. I
don't even want to talk about this anymore. This is disgusting. This is a disgusting conversation for disgusting people. But seriously though, guys, Lola Bunny.
No, it awakened a thing. It wasn't really a thing till that became a thing.
I think it is Gadget. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna go.
No, I know it's Gadget.
Well, no, because there was a show with Sally Fields, and I always had a crush on Sally Fields, and she did a show called Gidget. That's what it was. Yes, and that was an old show when I was watching it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Sally Fields is the hottest 70-year-old lady. Or maybe
No, that's. I mean,
Joe is really into Elf. He likes Elf.
Elf.
Elf. ALF.
I told you. It was Gidget, then Gadget. I went the wrong way with it.
We're here way backwards to the alphabet.
Oh God. Oh wow. Where are we now? We went totally off the rails on the show notes. But this is actually, you know what? I'm glad we transitioned from talking from Dragon Ball to going into whatever that was. One quick thing before, like, I'm trying to come up with. I never got to do my pitch for should we do one stream or many streams.
You never crossed the stream.
Never crossed the streams? Is that actually a thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, because it might cause the packs to overload, and you'll have a nuclear explosion on your hands.
Not an overload. What it does is it creates. It's not the packs overloading. It's the fundamental thing about. He explains it in the movie, and I forget it, but it's about the lasers hitting each other and causing, like, being superheated gases and stuff like that. Rewatch the movie.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Rewatch. Get it right.
Get it right or pay the price. Watch some 90s stuff. Anyway, I need to. I ran, like I said, I ran the primary. I need you guys to voice in, send in the emails. What do you think? Should I just put everything on one stream and say we have Just Fit Enough? If Just Tech Enough ever happens, we have Just Tech Enough, Just Cool Enough, all on one stream? Or should they each just have their individual one and you can subscribe to it as your liking? I've heard arguments both ways. I've heard the argument, it makes things easier for us to hear your content and it's easy for us to delete it if we don't want to listen to it. And I've heard the argument that, I don't want to have a bunch of extra stuff in the stream. I only want to listen to Just Cool Enough. And I understand them both. But what do you guys think? Send an email, theshow@justcoolenough.com. I really would like to know your detailed opinion about it. So
also, who is your childhood awakening, as it were? I will say mine hands down is Leeloo Dallas from The Fifth Element. I mean, that was wow. Yeah, that was like that was the one that was like that's why, like, anytime I I will always, like, with Sally Fields, I will always be attracted to Mila Jovovich no matter what. I'm sure of this. Like, there's nothing she can do that she could come out as the most, like, anti-Semitic person, like, just the most violent, hateful person, and I would still be like, yeah, but she's got she's not a bad person. Like, I've seen I've seen every one of the Resident Evil movies, and pretty much all of them are hot garbage. There's another one coming out next year. I'm gonna fucking see that one too.
I'll be there. Yep, I will be there with bells on.
What do you think?
I sat through Ultraviolet. I sat through The Musketeers. I mean, I've watched so many of her, and she's made a lot of garbage. It doesn't, but she's a talented person. She just happens to have made a lot of garbage movies. But I will always forgive her.
She can never do anything bad. The chat room agrees with you.
I cheated on you again, Eric. That's okay. It's okay. Just keep going.
You could have the multi-pass to cheating. You could do whatever you'd like.
You told me, and that's what matters. You were honest about it.
Ike, do you want to name yours?
The
first girl you're crushing on, yeah.
I think if we had to go TV wise, it was probably. Oh man, it's been so long I can't remember her name. I remember it was Blossom. I really thought Blossom Blossom Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice. I remember that. Yeah, there's so many that I can't even
see.
Sally Fields. It's Sally Fields.
I liked Clarissa, but for the longest time I couldn't pronounce her name. Like I like physically couldn't, like, say Clarissa. I still struggle with it. I don't know why. It's just I can't say that, and that was always yeah. I still do. Like now, like I'm stuttering it now, trying to say it out loud. But like when I'd say, like, Clarissa Explains It All, like I have to, like, take a beat and, like, give myself a second before I jump in that.
Lacey Chaubert. These are some answers from the chat room. Lacey Chaubert, Lois no, it's Lois and Clark.
Yeah, Terry Hatcher from Lois and Clark, and then Lacey Chabert. Yeah, she was great.
Oh, we got an anime one, just like Gadget for me. It was Sailor Moon. There you go. Yeah. See, what are you supposed to do? You're just an impressionable thing, and we got Lola Bunny walking around, just like then the floozies come in, and there goes the neighborhood.
Here you go, Tiffany Michelle Brissett.
What?
This is a like, I'm reaching back for this. This would probably be my first. She is the actress who played in the show Small Wonders, which was about this girl robot.
No way! You had a crush on Small Wonders? That's weird because it's a robot girl. Okay, listeners, you might be too young. You gotta Google. Just watch the intro to Small Wonders. We gotta start wrapping up the show here.
I mean, this fucking ages me, of course, but I mean...
Oh my god! No, I totally remember that show too. I didn't have cable, so I just got whatever I could get. But I remember Small Wonders.
I couldn't feel like I remember talking about this television show with somebody, just being like, "Hey, it was a show about this robot girl. I can't remember what it was called." They're like, I don't even know. You must be on crack. But I literally just typed into Google old television show about robot girl, and halfway through what I was typing, the rest of it popped up. So clearly people have been looking for years for this thing.
Lost forever.
That's bullshit, because I typed in this morning, why is French orange juice or apple juice so fucking good? And Google's like, I had no fucking idea. Like, I could find zero results that were relevant to what I was looking for. They were just like, you want to buy apple juice? I was like, no, I don't want to buy. I want to buy French apple juice. And they're like, you want to buy a French apple cider beer? I was like, no, just apple juice. What the fuck is wrong with you?
You got to get the stuff that's a little cloudy. Go get it from a farmer's market.
Article about cold pressed juices? No, I don't.
Go to a farmer's market. Go to a farmer's market and get some unfiltered stuff. That's the only way you're going to be able to get anything. And even then, you might not be able to find it because I don't know how your state regulates that stuff.
Yeah.
It's the only way. I've been trying for years to replicate the taste. Guys, we got to wrap up the show right now. Eric, take us away.
Thank you guys so much for listening. You can always follow me on Twitter. I'm at Duncor, Duncor.
You can always follow me on Twitter, Joe Q Car, JoeQCar.
And you can follow me on Twitter, although I never use it, at Railvis, but you're probably more likely to find me on Instagram at Ike_Dodge.
Voice your opinion. Voice your opinions. Tell us what you think about the streams, and tell us what you think about get the book from Ike and all the other great stuff that we talked about today. Comment on it. We want to hear from you. The email address is theshow@justcoolenough.com. Don't forget to support our live streaming partner, Alpha Geek Radio, and a big shout out to Chris over at Shout Engine for building Shout Engine, and a big shout out to me for doing stuff at Shout Engine. Thanks, me. And as always, don't let Eric say bad words at the end of the show.
Fuck off.
Ah! I tried to keep it like I was gonna try to end the stream before you could say anything, but because it was just last week.
Next time you don't announce it, just click the button.
If you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have done it because I was too busy looking at pictures of Mila Jovovich.